let's get away from this game for a moment. You know how long and hard we had to search for a game that you fell behind 5-0 in this early?
Oh, we had a lot more than that to come.
Now, later this season, you go after, a Hall of Famer and one of the greats of all time, and Doug Harvey, to come up and aid in your defense. Tell us a little bit about this.
Well, what happened is as everybody maybe didn't know, Philadelphia finished first in this first season, and there was 6 points separating first and fifth, so it was a real tight race. I'm not sure. Oakland and Pittsburgh just missed. We just made the playoffs on the last weekend. We won 2 games, and we got into 2 7-game series. And then when we played Philadelphia, in those days, one played 3. We finished third. By finishing up well, winning the last 2 games of the regular season, we drew Philadelphia in the first round. And we got into the 6th game at home. We had a 1-0 lead. We blew the game in overtime. And then our farm team was playing in Kansas City, and Doug was the playing coach. And we lost the 6th game at home. The series was tied 3-3. We had to go back into Philadelphia for Game 7. And I remember I talked to Doug before the game and said, stay right where you are in the dressing room to get the result. And we called down. Never did I hope that one of our farm teams would lose, but they lost and got knocked out. And I said, Doug, we need some help for tomorrow night. And he said, well, there's 3 guys here that are ready. And I said, who are they? And he mentioned Gary Veneruzzo, Craig Cameron. We need to make a change in our lineup. And he said, and I'm ready. And he came into Philadelphia. We won the Game 7, 3-1. And he played, I think, nearly 50 minutes. It was amazing. It was one of the highlights of my career to watch. Well, Al Arbor was right behind him. I mean, the 2 veteran defensemen, I think they got picked in the first 3 stars.
One of my favorite stories and one of my favorite people is Bob Plager. And Bobby tells the story about when Doug came up, and it may have been for that game. And Bob said that he went over to introduce himself to Doug Harvey, and Harvey said to him very quietly, Mr. Plager, there's one rule I have when you play with me. If I pass the puck to you, under no circumstances are you ever to pass it back to me. Get it up to one of those idiots up in the front, let them screw it up, but don't get it back here. Pretty simple strategy.
Well, they played together in Baltimore as minor leaguers, maybe 3 or 4 years, and Harvey had, you know, when they say a player has ice in his veins, I mean, we had Game 7 the next series against Minnesota, and Glenn Hall had lost Game 6 5-1, and he was always after me. You know, are you sure that you want me for Game 7? I mean, we're not going to put another goalie in. And about 5 minutes to 8 when the game started, he came to me and said, you know, make sure that, you know, you don't leave me in if I'm not having a good night. Keep your eye on me. So I was looking around for Doug Harvey. By that time, he's in his 2nd series, and I said, Doug, you better talk to the goalie. Oh, he said, don't worry about him. He said, I'll keep both my eyes on him. And that night, that was the 7th game of the West Final. We went into the 2nd overtime. Ron Schock scored the winning goal, and Hall had 55 shots, let 1 in, and Maniego had 54 shots and let 2 in.
Wow.
So it was a goaltender's
Quite a night. And yeah. Doug Harvey, a very special person.
Oh, yeah.
Tremendous talent. So they got the Maple Leafs out in front by a score of 5-0. Doug Harvey hasn't made it up to the St. Louis lineup, although maybe about this time you're thinking about it, Scotty. As let's go back upstairs now for more of the 2nd period.
Scotty Bowman, back of that St. Louis bench.
He's a lot younger than the fellas he's talking to. 32-year-old Scotty Bowman, the coach of the Blues.
Toronto 5, St. Louis nothing. 11:23 left in this 2nd period. Ruff fails to get the puck out. A chance for Bill McCreary in St. Louis. Centered it in front. There's Schock to drive. Another shot. Bauer has it underneath him and holds it out.
Well, that's the closest the Blues have come tonight to scoring a goal. Leafs having a little trouble clearing here. Number 10 moves in. That's Ron Schock, and Bauer's able to sprawl on his back, and he looked behind him for an instant to see if the puck may have slipped through.
That's Ron Schock, number 10 at center ice. Tim Ecclestone on the right wing, number 14, and 15 is Bill McCreary. The shot goes wide of the Leaf net. Stanley falls. Horton for Armstrong. Back to Horton. Horton then checks his man, and Armstrong just gets rid of it to center ice, where Picard picks it up for St. Louis. Back to McCreary, stopped by Armstrong, and he shot it by Mahavlich. Picard then gives it to Bob Plager. Goes back into the lead zone, and Horton up